Hi, beautiful souls. Today we're diving into one of the simplest, most underestimated, most transformative practices you can bring into your life: reading books. Not scrolling. Not binge watching. Not consuming 5-second clips. But sitting with a book, letting it expand your consciousness, open your heart, rewire your brain, elevate your vibration, and pull you into the version of yourself that you know you're meant to become. Because reading isn't just a hobby. It's not an activity reserved for people with free time. Reading is a portal. It's a shift in frequency. It's a silent mentor in your hands. And the moment you step into the world of a book, you step out of resistance, out of overwhelm, out of autopilot mode, and into alignment, clarity, and flow. And today we're going to talk about why reading books propels your life forward faster than almost anything else. Why books are better for your mind, your mood, your path, your vibration, and your future than social media ever will be. Why reading is one of the few habits that impacts every single part of your life at once: your brain chemistry, your emotional state, your creativity, your decision-making, your motivation, your identity, and your ability to manifest. We're also going to tie in Joe Dispenza's perspective on reading and how it literally rewires your neural pathways. Abraham Hicks' teachings on how reading shifts you into ease, the vortex, and higher vibration. A science-backed look at the neurological and psychological benefits of reading. And yes, an actual miracle story that shows just how powerful reading can be in shaping your reality. So settle in, because this is going to open your mind, inspire your spirit, and maybe, just maybe, change the way you move through the rest of your life. Let's start with the truth most people don't realize. Reading propels you forward because it places you in a mental environment that naturally matches success, growth, creativity, and expanded awareness. It puts your brain into states that social media never can, and never will. When you're scrolling on social media, your brain is in a constant state of micro-stimulation. You're being hit with tiny bursts of novelty. New image, new video, new sound, new headline, new opinion. Your attention is fractured. Your nervous system is slightly agitated, even though it feels relaxing. You're not absorbing anything. You're not integrating anything. And you're definitely not expanding. But when you pick up a book, everything changes. Your nervous system downshifts. Your mind becomes present. Your breath slows. Your awareness widens. Your attention deepens. Suddenly you're not reacting, you're receiving. You're allowing. You're entering the frequency of growth instead of the frequency of distraction. Books don't just entertain you. They evolve you. Books make your mind more elastic. They make your perspective more flexible. They stretch the boundaries of what you believe is possible. They plant ideas seeded with opportunity. They activate imagination, which is the birthplace of manifestation. And that's one reason reading propels your life forward, because you literally cannot read without expanding into someone who sees more, feels more, and knows more than before. Let's talk about vocabulary for a second, because people underestimate this part. When your vocabulary expands, your life expands. Why? Because language shapes perception. The words you have access to determine the thoughts you are capable of thinking. And the thoughts you are capable of thinking shape what you believe you can do, who you believe you can become, and how you navigate challenges. When you learn new words, you learn how to describe subtle emotions, new ideas, complex situations. You gain clarity. You gain precision. You gain cognitive depth. You gain the ability to communicate more effectively, which influences your relationships, your career, your confidence, and your decision-making. A bigger vocabulary doesn't just make you articulate, it makes you powerful. Because you cannot act beyond the level of your awareness. And books increase your awareness every single time you open one. Think about the times you've been stuck in a problem, Not because it was unsolvable, but because you didn't have the language or perspective to even understand what was happening. Books give you that perspective. They give you the words that open doors. They give you frameworks that dissolve confusion. And when confusion dissolves, direction appears. Now, let's shift into something even deeper. Books take you out of resistance. Abraham Hicks talks a lot about resistance, those moments when your energy is clogged with worry, fear, doubt, overwhelm, and limiting beliefs. Resistance is what stops your manifestations. It's what blocks inspiration. It's what keeps you from clarity. It's what slows momentum. When you're reading a book, especially a book that inspires you, educates you, elevates you, your mind softens its grip on resistance. You're not thinking about your problems for a moment. You're not overanalyzing your situation. You're not replaying old stories. You're not fighting with your own mind. Instead, you're allowing. You're receiving new ideas. You're flowing downstream mentally instead of upstream. Reading is one of the easiest, most natural ways to align with the vortex. Because the vortex is simply the state of non-resistance. The state of openness. The state of possibility. The state of connection. And when you're in the vortex, inspiration comes. Solutions come. Your energy cleans up. Your vibration rises. This is why people say reading makes them feel calmer, lighter, hopeful, expanded, aligned. Even fiction. Even fantasy. Anything that brings you into a world that feels good, purposeful, exciting, or interesting puts you in the frequency of allowing. Now, here's where science comes in. Studies from places like Harvard, Stanford, and Oxford show that reading increases gray matter density, strengthens neural networks, improves long-term memory, reduces stress by up to 68%, boosts emotional intelligence, increases empathy, activates mirror neurons, improves decision-making, and increases cognitive longevity. In other words, reading builds your brain. Literally. Neurons fire. Synapses strengthen. The brain becomes more efficient, more powerful, more adaptable. Social media can't do that. Quick videos can't do that. Texting can't do that. Books train your mind for depth, not speed. Now let's talk about Joe Dispenza's perspective, because it takes this to another level. Dispenza teaches that every time you learn something new, your brain creates new neural connections. New pathways. New maps. These new pathways open access to new thoughts, new emotions, and new actions. And those new actions create new results. Reading becomes a tool for neuroplasticity. When you read a book, you're literally firing and wiring new patterns in the brain. Dispenza also talks about how the brain doesn't know the difference between a memory and an imagined experience. So when you read about someone overcoming fear, finding love, creating success, transforming their life, your brain rehearses those same emotional and neurological patterns. Your body begins to believe those experiences are possible for you. Your subconscious begins to accept those outcomes as normal. Your belief system starts upgrading itself without effort. Books are mental rehearsals for the reality you want to create. Think about that. Every time you read, you're rehearsing possibility. Now let's bring in flow, because this part is magical. Flow is the state where time disappears. Where everything feels effortless. Where inspiration comes naturally. Where you're fully absorbed in the present moment. Reading, especially long-form reading, is one of the easiest portals into flow. You enter the narrative. You enter the ideas. You enter the world of the author. And your mind drops into a state of deep focus. Flow increases dopamine. Dopamine increases motivation. Motivation increases action. Action increases momentum. Momentum increases miracles. Reading is not passive. Reading is catalytic. Reading moves energy. Reading moves ideas. Reading moves you. Now, let's talk about vibration, because reading absolutely raises it. Abraham Hicks explains that anything that brings relief, clarity, inspiration, or joy increases your vibrational set point. Books do all of this. They regulate your emotions. They calm your nervous system. They open your heart. They create alignment. They stimulate curiosity, creativity, expansion, and appreciation, some of the highest vibrations you can access as a human. Reading puts you in receiving mode. You've probably had the experience where you're reading something and suddenly you get a download, an idea, an insight, a realization that feels like it came from somewhere beyond you. That's vibration rising. That's alignment increasing. That's consciousness expanding. That's you connecting to your higher self. Now I want to share a miracle story because this illustrates everything. A woman was going through a difficult divorce. She felt alone, drained, confused, and stuck. She said she had no clarity, no direction, and no faith that anything could get better. But one night, she picked up a book, The Alchemist, by Paulo Coelho. She said she didn't even know why. Something just drew her to it. While reading, she felt something shift. Not immediately, but slowly. Page after page, she began feeling possibility again. She began feeling guided again. She began remembering her inner strength. She said it was the first time in months she felt hope. But here's where the miracle happened. The next day, she received a call for a job interview, a job she didn't even remember applying for. It was in a field she always wanted to explore but never had the courage to pursue. She got the job. Within 1 month, she moved into a new home, met new friends, and began a new chapter. And she said, it all started the moment I opened that book, because that book aligned me back to myself. Reading changes your state. Your state changes your decisions. Your decisions change your life. And sometimes, your entire reality pivots from the energy you enter while reading one book. Now, let's go deeper into why books are better than social media. Social media is entertainment. Books are transformation. Social media is quick pleasure. Books are long-term fulfillment. Social media is noise. Books are signal. Social media is fast food. Books are nourishment. The difference isn't subtle, it's fundamental. When you scroll, you consume. When you read, you expand. Scrolling leaves you overstimulated. Reading leaves you evolved. Scrolling numbs. Reading awakens. Social media makes your attention span shorter. Books make your attention span longer. Social media floods your mind with fragments. Books give your mind space to connect meaningful ideas. Social media scatters your intuition. Books strengthen it. Social media pulls you outward. Books pull you inward. And inward is where your power is. Now, I want to talk about horizons expanding, because books do something that almost nothing else in society does. They allow you to live thousands of lifetimes. You can step into the mind of a philosopher, a scientist, a mystic, a traveler, a CEO, a healer, a visionary, a spiritual teacher. You can see the world through the eyes of someone who lived 2,000 years ago. You can understand the world from cultures you've never visited. You can explore realities you've never considered. When you expand your horizons, your worldview becomes more flexible, compassionate, intelligent, and empowered. And the bigger your worldview, the bigger your life. Books introduce you to ways of thinking you never knew you needed, ideas that challenge your assumptions, dissolve your limitations, broaden your perspective, and elevate your consciousness. Think about the moments where you read a sentence and it felt like it was written directly for you. Those sentences become turning points. Those ideas become breakthroughs. Those moments become inner shifts that change the trajectory of your life. Books awaken parts of you that were asleep. Books remind you who you're meant to be. Books activate your inner wisdom, your inner leader, your inner creator, your inner magician. They don't just teach you, they awaken you. And all of this brings us back to the essence of this message. Reading propels you forward because it puts you into the internal environment that aligns with growth, abundance, clarity, creativity, inner peace, and higher vibration. When you read, you're investing in your future self. You're opening yourself to new possibilities. You're tapping into the collective wisdom of humanity. You're stepping into the energy of learning instead of the energy of reacting. You're expanding mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and vibrationally. You're not just reading words. You're rewriting your reality. And maybe the most beautiful part of reading is this: you never finish a book as the same person you were when you started. So here's your gentle reminder: pick up a book. Any book. Something that inspires you. Something that teaches you. Something that lights you up. Something that pulls you into alignment. Let a book be your portal to a new version of yourself. Because every time you read, you step closer to the life you are meant for. Reading is not a pastime. Reading is a pathway. Reading is a vibration. Reading is a catalyst. Reading is a miracle worker. And the next miracle might be waiting in the next book you open. And if this message today expanded your heart, inspired your mind, or reminded you of your power, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that little notification bell so you never miss another moment of alignment, awakening, and transformation. Your support helps this community grow and helps these messages reach more beautiful souls just like you. Thank you for being here, thank you for growing, and thank you for choosing your highest self, one page, one chapter, one book at a time.